Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for tuning in. I have to start this. So to my super chat, thank you so very much. You give me every incentive to rock these live streams. I have to start this with the following article. CNN, the trusted name in news. Senators can't seem to stay in their seats during impeachment trial. How hard is it to just sit? Well, I mean, look, if you had to listen to Adam Schiff for 3 hours, I mean, I would be out after the first 20 minutes. They're not even sitting in their seats. And that goes for Democrats also. This is like a high school performance in an auditorium where people they don't want to be there. You understand? They don't want to be there. So this is just hilarious. I got to read this. I mean, this is absolutely hilarious. Senators can't seem to stay in their seats during impeachment trial. Washington, CNN. With the impeachment trial underway, senators have been listening in and taking notes as President Donald Trump's defense team and the House managers make their case. But as time goes on, senators also appear to have grown increasingly restless as they've been confined for hours to the Senate chamber, and there have been more than a few empty seats at times during the proceedings. Most of the absences are the result of senators getting up to stretch and walk around the chamber to get out of their seats after sitting for brief trips to cloakrooms, rooms that can be accessed by doors directly off the floor of the chamber and serve as a place for members of each party to gather. At around 10:30 p.m. Eastern, CNN counted roughly 20 empty seats. There's only 100 senators. So one-fifth of the Senate was like, I'm just going to go to the bathroom, or I'm just going to go to the vending machines. I mean, they're literally going to the vending machines. Do you understand? They're going to the vending machines. They're not even taking it seriously because the whole thing's nonsense. They're impeaching Trump on a phone call where Schiff had to actually fabricate a parody because the actual conversation, the transcript, there was no quid pro quo. So I mean, the whole thing is absolutely hilarious. At around 10:30 p.m. Eastern Tuesday evening, CNN counted roughly 20 empty seats. This is supposed to be the most monumental, consequential, solemn moment in American history, recent American history. And even Democrats, because it wasn't just Republicans, but even Democrats were just trying to find something else to do because it was so boring. Oh my God, was it boring? Oh my God, they just are so boring. So, at various points, Republican Senators Mitt Romney of Utah, John Barrasso of Wyoming, Tim Scott of South Carolina, and Tom Tillis of North Carolina were standing on the GOP side of the chamber, while Democratic Senators Kamala Harris of California, Guy Peters of Michigan, and Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut could be seen standing on the Democratic side. Senators typically able to come and go when they please at the Capitol have been subjected to a number of constraints during trial. This is hilarious. There are rules against talking and a ban on electronic devices on the floor. This is like high school. Official decorum guidelines for the trial, released by Senate Majority Mitch McConnell and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, also say that senators should plan to be in attendance at all times during proceedings. Oh my God. This is hilarious. Have you ever heard, Senator Dick Durbin, he's hilarious, of Illinois. Oh my God, is he hilarious. Said on Wednesday morning that the Democratic cloakroom was filled with provisions. Quote, it must have been a Costco dump in our cloakroom. Everything was there. By the way, I heard that they had Rolos. Lisa Murkowski was talking about how they had Rolos and they had chocolate and nut bars and all these wonderful munchies. Oh, they had such a great time. Oh my God, they had such a great time. It's basically like high school. They had vending machines. They had everything from Cactus Cooler to Mountain Dew to Pepsi. It was fantastic. It must have been fantastic in the Senate. I mean, like, this is supposed to be the most solemn moment. And I'm surprised, like, they didn't take a football out and start throwing a football, or like one of those Spalding balls, they're just playing handball. I mean, this is supposed to be. Trump is supposed to be an actual risk to national security. Then the Democrats, they're like, so this is a great article. This is a Democratic publication. The wandering senators, are lawmakers allowed to roam during the trial? So they're upset that there were more Republicans who were like, yeah, the heck with this, I'm out, than Democrats. So this is just hilarious. Reporters present at the impeachment trial in the Senate have noticed a whole host of lawmakers wandering in and out of the chamber lengthy days, which earlier this week stretched to until 2 a.m. Eastern. A tally from Freelance Reporter during Wednesday's proceedings just counted 21 empty seats on the GOP side and 2 on the Dem side. Yeah, there's more than 2. Sorry, not going to believe that it was just 2. But anyway, I love the fact that there's only, 53? There's only 53 Republicans. 21 had better things to do. Do you understand? Look, even Mitt Romney had enough. Even he was like, yeah, I'm going to go coif my hair. Even Mitt Romney was like, I'm tired of this. Robert the Bruce! Rogan endorsed Bernie. Bernie could beat Trump. I don't think Bernie could beat Trump. And I think that Clinton is going to be, I believe Clinton is going to be nominee. Robert the Bruce, thank you. Bernie could have beaten Trump in 2016. I think the economy is too good. But they're already cheating Bernie. Elizabeth Warren made up a quote where he never said that a woman couldn't win. That's nonsense. And then President Obama stated that he would actually intervene. He would actually intervene if Bernie Sanders got too close to the nomination. And then you have Hillary Clinton, what was it with her documentary, going after Bernie. So I just, I love Joe Rogan. Watch him all the time. I believe you're talking about Joe Rogan. Yeah, I love Joe Rogan. Watch him all the time. I think he's fantastic. I respectfully disagree because Bernie's chance was in 2016. President Obama has already stated he would intervene 3 times, by the way, twice with his campaign manager and once through Politico. 3 times in the past 8 months, President Obama, through either his campaign manager or through Politico, stated he would intervene if Bernie got the nomination. Elizabeth Warren is there strictly to undermine Bernie Sanders. So Elizabeth, exactly, Carl. Elizabeth Warren turned Bernie's movement into a bowel movement. Well, I think he did that himself, but Warren completely fabricated and almost certainly made up a quote from Sanders. So, and then you have Hillary Clinton with, her Hulu documentary. Robert the Bruce, thank you. I thank God Trump won because I think he's a great president. 5 million people lifted out of poverty, 6 million jobs created. We can go on. I mean, but I think that the moment when I was writing in the Hill, the Huffington Post, and Salon, when they called me the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post, the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post, 2016 was a year where a populist message. Bernie Sanders actually could have won the presidency. If they didn't cheat him, he would have won the presidency. But thank God that Trump won. Thank God. Now we have somebody going after Comey and Strzok and McCabe like Trump. and a great economy. First president stepped foot in North Korea. But I think 2016 was his moment. That'll never happen again. Democrats, one thing they are is devious. I give it up to the Democrats. They are devious. And they're ruthless. Ruthless and devious. Bernie doesn't fight. Bernie is not ruthless. I'll give him. It's not good to be ruthless or devious or conniving. It's not good. But it's also not good to be too flimsy and weak. And, when you can't even endorse a pundit, that's a problem. But thank you, Robert the Bruce. Thank you. Revco! Shift for brain strategy. Board the Senate by repeating the same lies over and over again so the last 5 zombie-crats can win the vote. That's funny, Revco. Yeah, basically, CG3 SSF, hello. Yeah, Rolos are great. Revco, it's interesting, too, because it's not like Schiff is, either Nadler or Schiff, they're not really great public speakers. Like, there are better public speakers than Nadler or Schiff, okay? Much better public speakers on the Democratic side. But the interesting thing is that, like, it's kind of like, why would you send out, even if he's the head of the House Intelligence Committee, why would you send this person out to speak when you know that he doesn't really possess neither Nadler nor Schiff or any these people don't possess like gravitas, where like if they get to the podium and they start speaking, people start yawning and they start going to the snack room to get the Rolos and tangerines or whatever, Mountain Dew, Cactus Cooler, whatever. I mean, people are tired. They're tired. Revco, thank you. They're tired. They don't want to. The senators, look, there's only 53 senators. There are only 53 Republican senators. Only 53 Republican senators. 21 were like, at the vending machine. So, this is hilarious. Just counted 21 empty seats. Is it allowed? So, before we continue with this, because I find it really hilarious, they've already cleared Trump in their minds. They're going to vote. Because, there was a question mark as to whether or not this was legit. There was a question mark as to whether Mitt Romney or Susan Collins or Lisa Murkowski would make this, there was a question mark as to whether there would be some kind of compelling statement from Democrats, something compelling, something that would make Democrats, something that would make Republicans think twice about simply quitting Trump immediately. Okay? But what happened is that Nadler and Schiff went after Republicans. They condemned all Republicans. And when they did that, but even the ones like Mitt Romney's game, his game is reach out to the media, pretend that he's the guy going up against Trump, and try to kind of garner as much favorable media coverage as possible. That's his thing. That's his thing. Hayuk 132, thank you. So the thing is, he realized that, wait a second, Democrats are painting everyone here as covering up a crime. Of course, there's no crime. They haven't even accused Trump of a crime in the articles of impeachment. But Mitt Romney's whole public relations stunt is not working. See, when you have Mitt Romney and Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski defending Trump, this is not good for Democrats. Because even though when push comes to shove, they were always kind of going to lean towards Trump, they wanted to at least create the allure that they were independent and they were going up against the Orange Menace, who's presiding over a fantastic economy for all people. The Orange Menace. Oh, the Orange Menace. So here, is it allowed? Nothing in the official Senate impeachment rules forbids it. So this is per CNN. Senator Lindsey Graham spent more time out of his seat than in it Wednesday. Senator Feinstein also left for stretches. Senator Cory Booker could be seen using his iPhone in the Democratic cloakroom. Electronics are banned from the chamber during trial. That's hilarious. Does it look bad? That's hilarious. That is so hilarious. So this is all like, that's right, Revco. He lost. Mitt Romney actually lost. He lost favorability ratings. He lost in terms of polls. So it's kind of really interesting. Like you start losing. You start losing support among people that you were desperately trying to court. They were trying to court Mitt Romney. It didn't work out. It just didn't work out. I mean, it's really, really hilarious. You know, really, really hilarious. And if anything, what they did was they made sure that Republicans rallied around Trump, because from the Republican perspective, now it's self-preservation. See, they're always going to think of their backside. Exactly. Brazilian-American patriotic soldier. Exactly. Republicans need to unite now. Democrats going too far. Exactly. And they are. They're uniting now. If it's Mitt Romney, he's rallying around Trump for self-interest. Lindsey Graham too. And then there are senators that are actually doing it for the country and doing it because they think Trump is a great president. But exactly. Now is the time. And did you think that Adam Schiff and Jerry Nadler and Democrats, was that their strategy? It's like the opposite of what they wanted. The opposite of what they wanted took place. The opposite. The opposite of what they wanted took place. It's just so hilarious. Now, the interesting thing is also, when you look at, I'm looking at the St. Louis Fed. This is a great, you go, it's Fred, F-R-E-D .stlouisfed.org. The Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. This is fantastic. There are all these charts, and you really get a picture of how great Trump's economy is. Now they talk about working class, like Democrats, people on the left. I used to be Bernie Sanders is going to really help the working class. Now look, high school graduates, no college, 25 years and over. The unemployment rate was 5.1% under President Obama. 5.1% December 2016. 5.1%. And so January of 2016 is 5.2%. September 2015, it was 5.3%. So I don't want to hear from anyone, oh, well, it started under President Obama. It started. No. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's at 3.7%. That is an enormous dip. Okay? And I say, well, started. Yeah, it was at 10% unemployment in March of 2010. And then don't say that the recession, you cannot blame the stock market crash. In February of 2012, it was still 8%. It was still 8%. So yeah, okay. Towards the end of it went from 8 to 5, but still, all from 2015, it stayed at 5, and it was staying at 5 till the end of 2016. So you want to talk about an economic indicator like people are suffering, the working class is suffering. Well, if you want to talk about the working class, a high school graduate, 25 years and older, no college degree, okay? So you're talking about people using their hands. You're talking about people who are people that were disparaged by Biden. He told coal miners to learn the code. Okay? So that is a fantastic, that's actually a really, really, really important that's an important benchmark. When people talk about like, oh, Trump's economy is not really helping, the average person. That's not true. That's not true. Go look at the statistics from the St. Louis Federal Reserve. Unemployment rate, high school graduates, no college degree, 25 years and over. Went from about over 5% to just 3.7%. It actually hit 3.6% and 3.4% April of 2019. So people who are without a college degree, 25 years and older, only high school, are doing a lot better under President Trump. See, that's the thing, that's the thing that Democrats don't get. They don't understand that if you look at the numbers, you look at this economy, it's actually helping the people they claim to be helping. They claim to be helping the working class, but the working class, I'm giving you statistics. Okay, Hispanic and Latino men, Hispanic and Latino citizens, who are men, male Hispanic and Latino citizens, have a lower unemployment rate than the national average. That is amazing. Lower unemployment rate never happened under President Obama. Never happened. Never happened. Now, I find a really interesting statistic. Share of total net worth held by the top 1%. Like Bernie said, we're going to fight the 1%. We're going to fight the 1%. Now, it's interesting because the fourth quarter of 2016 under President Obama is 31.9% of the nation's wealth, of the country's wealth. It's really interesting. Held by the 1%. Now you go under President Trump's economy, so 31.9%, it dropped down to 31.5% the fourth quarter of 2018. It's now 32.2%, which is roughly the same as 31.9%. It's now 32.2%, roughly the same, but it dropped down fourth quarter of 2018. So it's roughly the same amount that the 1% held when President Obama was in office, a Democrat, and it actually dipped to 30. It actually dipped, like the 1% owned less of the total net worth of the country, according to the economic research, the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. Share of total net worth held by top 1%. So at one point in President Trump's economy, it actually fell below the below where it was under President Obama. And the interesting thing is, You talk about wealth inequality. Well, they're going to blame the recession. Okay. Well, the recession actually the top 1% got really hurt during the. But let's just say, before the recession hit, you had 29% of the total net worth of the country held by a top 1% in 2008. So you had about 28.8, 29% of the country's. Well, this was under Bush. Okay, this is an interesting statistic. Democrats talk about wealth inequality. The wealth inequality took place under their watch. The greatest wealth inequality took place under their watch. And I think George W. Bush, the worst president, one of the worst presidents of all time, perhaps the worst president of all time. I think he is. But all throughout President Obama's administration, the total net worth held by the top 1%, if you look at the economic data, the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis share of total net worth held by the top 1%, first quarter of 2009, and that was, the recession hit, crash, everything, 26% of the nation's wealth. So it went from 29% to 26%. But all throughout Bush's tenure, it didn't break 30%, okay? In fact, at some points, it was just 28, 27. It went steadily up to where it went from 26% to 31% of the nation's wealth. 31% of the nation's wealth. It was almost at 32. The fourth quarter was 31.9. We'll just round it off at 32% of the nation's wealth was held by the top 1%. Compared to when President Obama took office at 26% of the nation's wealth. And you can look and 28% even before the recession. So the top 1% gained a lot more during President Obama's administration than they did during Bush's administration. The Democrat in office, and I know this is boring, but it's interesting. The Democrat in office presided over a lot greater wealth inequality. So Democrats, when they have political influence, you can rest assured that they're pretty much going to do everything in the most backwards manner. Like everything they stand for, you could just basically you can rest assured that the opposite would take place. The economic data here is pretty awesome. Like you can actually there are all these statistics that disprove the Democratic Party's spin on everything, media spin on everything. You just look at the economic data. Let's see. Let's see if we can go. So you have real median income household went up. Real median household income in the United States of America went up to over $63,000 per year. Under President Obama, in 2015, 2016, it was around 60,000, 61,000, went up to over 63,000. There's a lot of great statistics here. Let's see. Median usual weekly real earnings. Wage and salary workers 16 years and over. Okay, real earnings. Employed full-time, median, usual, weekly real earnings. You know, you hear like when President Trump, they're like, oh, well, you know what? The real wages are down. Like, no, they're not. The chart goes way up. Once once Trump took office, the chart goes way up. Read this. This is dollars, adjusted dollars. Data measures usual weekly earnings of wage and salary workers. Wage and salary workers are workers who receive wage, salaries, commission, tips, payment kind, price rates. So this is also, I believe, addressing inflation as well. Anyway, the chart goes way up here. 300 goes from $349 to $362 per week, if I'm reading this correctly. If I'm reading this correctly. 16 years and over. So 16 years and over, okay. Anyway, we can go on forever. There's like all these, basically every economic chart is going up. Every single economic chart is going up. Anthony Andrea, hello. With DOJ finding FISA issues, indictments coming. I think that people will get indicted after, I really do believe, after Trump wins. When Trump's going to defeat Clinton again. Clinton, Jesse Hackett, I agree with you. Anthony Andrea, I think that after the election, the political will, you will have Democrats begging for indictments, because what happened with the Democratic Party is that what happened is that they were very happy that they got away with so much. Oh my God, they were so happy. Oh, you see, Madam Secretary was investigated. They found nothing. Well, there was no investigation. There was no investigation. Literally no investigation. No investigation at all. And, nobody was interviewed. No testimony before a grand jury, nothing. That has to do a lot with political will. Also, you have Durham and you have Durham and you have William Barr. They're actually investigating. They're actually doing a lot of work, but that's going to go into I see that going past the election. If they do anything, it'll be election interference. You know. If they do anything, it'll be election interference. So anything done is always going to be, oh my God, election interference. Oh my God, how dare you. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So I think that, Sticks 10.2. Love the name. And that's Sticks 10.2. Hello. Okay, YouTube. Adam Schiff is. Okay, he's totally. That's all. Peace out. Sticks 10.2. Thank you. Greatly appreciate Sticks 10.2. And that's a great name. That is a great name. It's going to be really interesting when you have Chuck Todd and you have like somebody like me on YouTube during the election. Or you'll have like Trump will win again and they're going to be like, honestly, we don't really understand what kind of foothold Trump has on the average American psyche. What is it that they see in the Orange Menace? I mean, what's Trump doing? What kind of hypnosis There's a hypnosis going on. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Well, not really. The average American only cares about a good economy and making money for his or her family, being able to live a great life, being productive, hopefully doing what he or she loves to do, or just taking care of his or her family. Really. Quantum football! What effect do you think this trial has had on the election so far? I'm worried that more people will be brainwashed by Schiff and hope he has to testify. Quantum football, I think that it's only going to help Trump. I don't, with the economy going the way it is, Democrats have no policy. See, this is another reason, quantum football, that Bernie Sanders cannot win. He's running on Medicare for all, and Democrats don't even want that. Democrats don't want, and they're only using Bernie Sanders and many pundits who Bernie is afraid to endorse. They're only using Bernie's movement, which has now become a bowel movement, to funnel votes. So the most passionate people are Bernie Sanders supporters. The most passionate, and I used to be one, the most passionate, the most energetic are Bernie Sanders supporters. They're just going to be funneled back into Clinton 2020. Okay? They're not going with Biden. There's no way that Biden becomes nominee. Hillary Clinton will become the nominee. I will be the only person who has said this since 2017. In the Huffington Post, Clinton 2020 is a reality. Get ready for 8 years of Trump until it happens. Because it's a political machine, number one, first and foremost. So quantum football, they know they're going to lose. It's just a matter now of how much torment. Quantum football, it's a matter of how much torment they put us through in terms of the media. Because they're not going out, they're not losing without without complaining all the way till election day. Revco! Thank you, Quantum Football. Revco! There are now 2 videos by Veritas of 2 Sanders organizers who are openly advocating violence. Yeah, that's, how many more do you think are that radical? Revco, I don't understand. In 2016, first of all, I never advocated ever any violence or any kind of... I wrote 100 articles in The Hill, The Huffington Post, and Salon. Got hit pieces from the Daily Beast, Raw Story. Oh my God, even... This is interesting. The Bernie Sanders Reddit, many people defended me, but even like the Bernie Sanders Reddit was like, oh, we can't have H.A. Goodman. He just writes articles where he says Bernie's going to win. It's like, wait a second. And I got a critique the other day from somebody who's like, well, your articles gave me false hope. What? In 2016, that was Bernie's only chance. He was actually the front runner. If it wasn't for James Comey literally covering up crimes, a litany of them, you cannot have top secret intelligence on servers outside of the United States government. This is something that nobody on the left even understands or cares about. But he was running against somebody who literally committed crimes. He could have won in a fair primary. He was cheated. The DNC emails forced Debbie Wasserman Schultz to resign. But see, back then, it's really hilarious. Revco, you're kind of seeing this, that mentality. I never experienced that mentality when I was writing for Bernie Sanders, writing about Bernie in The Hill, The Huffington Post, and Salon, which, by the way, every one of my articles was given were given a stamp of approval by editors. But I never experienced that mentality. Also, one person was talking about gulags. Like, no, yeah, the gulags are pretty bad. Read Alexander Solzhenitsyn, the Gulag Archipelago. They're pretty bad, really horrible and horrendous. And there's nothing good about communism. There's only like socialism, communism. You know, the notion of a safety net. Yeah, you have to have a safety net. You have to have a social safety net. Fine, but there aren't. You know, even Scandinavian countries like told Bernie like, oh, we're not socialists, we're capitalists also. So the notion also that, you know, Medicare for all, it's a good thing if your country is small. And if your country is small and doesn't have like thousands of bases throughout the world. But if you have a 300 plus million person country, and a foreign policy like ours, you're not going to be able to run Medicare for all. Revco, thank you. Eric H526. Hello, HA. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Eric H526. Hope all is well. I started a little early. I appreciate you watching as always. So, Revco, I don't know. It's kind of like this mentality like, you know, Revco, here's what's really going on. You have 2 or 3 types of Bernie Sanders supporters. You have the Bernie Sanders supporter like me, who really liked Bernie Sanders because of his foreign policy. That is what appealed Bernie to a whole bunch of people. Then you have the Bernie Sanders supporter of today, which is a different type of person on the left. That person is more into socialism being a great thing. They can't pick a country where socialism or communism worked. And if they do pick a country that's more socialist, it's a small European country, not without an overreaching foreign policy and without 300 plus million people. The issue regarding Medicare for all, for example, and this is why Bernie will be cheated and will not win, Democrats have no intention of Medicare for all. Democrats have no intention of relinquishing political influence or power to people on social media. So whereas Bernie's supporters are very passionate and they are influential, they don't have pull within the Democratic Party, and he's running as a Democrat. So that's the thing. Bernie Sanders is running in a political party. It's like this. Let's say people believe he can win. If Bernie Sanders is a 400 hitter, and you have Sandy Koufax or Bob Gibson or Nolan Ryan on the mound, what they did is they moved the outfield to 500 feet. The dimensions now, ACU, hello. The dimensions now are 500 feet. You only have the best pitchers of all time, and they've added 2-3 extra outfielders, and this is now baseball. It doesn't matter if you're a 400 hitter. It doesn't matter. You know. Spinster! Recovering burner, I followed you out of the socialist madness. Bernie supporting HRC, the convention and campaigning started my Trump journey. I've never looked back. Thank you, Spinster. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, what they don't understand is that, Spinster, what they did to Bernie Sanders recently is what they've been doing to Trump. What they've done to Bernie Sanders pundits who talk about corporate media is what they've done to Trump for 3 years. They fabricate quotes, they fabricate intent, they make things up, and then they say, oh my God, and even Bernie Sanders does it. Oh, he worked with Russia. Oh yeah? Well, guess what? Elizabeth Warren said that you didn't think a woman could win the presidency. What? Warren, how dare you? So, I mean, look, you have Tulsi Gabbard, Hillary Clinton calling Tulsi Gabbard a Russian operative. And this they haven't even gotten started. Spinster, everybody here, they haven't even got started. I mean, they're just warming up. Oh my God, they're just warming up. They're just warming up. That's right. I did. I left Bernie Sanders at the end of 2017. I became a Trump supporter at the end of 2017. Thank God. Thanks God. Spinster. Yes. Bernie will support HRC again. The only chance they have, ladies and gentlemen, is Clinton. All of this is Clinton. They're going to exonerate Trump. They're going to acquit Trump, and it'll be one of the most beautiful days. And this is the funny thing. They think that it'll light some kind of... They think that Democrats will be outraged. This impeachment is only going to help Trump because he's going to be acquitted. He's going to be acquitted. So... they've spent. This is going to be another Mueller probe failure. Which, by the way, they didn't put anything. They didn't include any of the Mueller allegations, even obstruction of justice. That they think that oh my God, he obstructed justice. They say we couldn't indict Trump, but he obstructed justice, and it's like, no. He didn't, and one reason we know that Democrats aren't serious is because they didn't put anything to do with obstruction within the articles of impeachment. So, there you go. you have Trump. Bernie takes the lead in Democratic primaries, but it is looking more and more like the Dems will never allow him to win. Will Sleepy Joe be able to stumble across the finish line? Oh my God, that's so funny. So Hillary Clinton today. This is the thing. I'm here to let everybody know this subliminal game being played where people well, we haven't heard from Madam Secretary. She's not running. She's definitely going to be nominee. Definitely going to be nominee. It ain't going to be Joe Biden. It ain't going to be Joe Biden. And, it ain't going to be Bernie because they already cheated Bernie. Look, it's like this. It's like this. You're going into a boxing ring, and you're a middleweight, and then you're gonna box the biggest heavyweight on the planet. See, that's not fair. That's not fair. Or you're a lightweight, and you go in, you're gonna try to fight a lightweight also. No, what they do is they put a heavyweight in. Okay? You're weighing 160 pounds, and then they put Tyson Fury in. Okay, or Deontay Wilder. Okay? That's not, you're not going to do well. It doesn't matter how good of a boxer you are. So, and it doesn't matter, look, it doesn't matter how good Bernie Sanders is, how passionate his supporters are. He's running as a Democrat. I didn't realize that the Democratic Party, had no problem with losing. But they have no problem with losing. If they lose their way, the thing with Democrats, they need to lose their way. If they lose their way, they're fine. It's all good if they lose their way. You know what I mean? So... Goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. Same old Democratic Party. The Democrats have not changed. They have not changed. They have not changed, and it's going to be the same outcome. This time, though, people will realize, wait a second. what's going on here? And they'll become H.A. Goodman, and they'll become you, and they'll become me. And people will realize, like, oh my God, we've been duped. And the reality is they duped themselves. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm running out of steam. I started a little bit early, but I want to thank you all. I want to thank you all for your support. Spinster, everybody here, thank you. This is going to be a really great, really great year. Check out H.A. Goodman's other channel right now. To my super chat, thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. I will see you. I'll have a segment up in a couple of hours, and I'll have a bunch of segments, of course, tomorrow. Check out H.A. Goodman's other channel right now. Thank you, Spinster. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you, Nana Horizon. Have a great, great night, everyone.